This is Evening News for Wednesday, February 5, 2014. I'm Samuel Suknandan. Thanks for joining us. Making the headlines tonight. GDF private remanded for murder. No evidence to prove Hardin's baton rape allegations. Carol Ann Lynch further remanded. Nigel Hughes and the owner of Mace Secondary in bitter court battle over land. Home Affairs Ministry to beef up response to noise nuisance reports. And severe weather expected tonight. And now for the news in detail. A Guyana Defence Force private was on Wednesday remanded after being charged with murdering a 55-year-old Agricola resident when she made her first court appearance in the Georgetown Magistrates Court. The details in this report.
26-year-old Abiola Abby Jacobs was not required to plead to the indictable charge when she appeared before Chief Magistrate Pierce C. Narambi Harry in Court 1. Jacobs is accused of murdering 55-year-old Donna Taylor at her Lot 1617 Public Road, Agricola home on January 31st. The woman was unrepresented by an attorney and stood silently while the charge was read to her. She was subsequently remanded until February 26 when she will appear before Magistrate Bihari. After being remanded, two of Jacob's supporters appeared emotional as she was being led to the prisoner's holding area. More charges are expected to be laid against the accused. 55-year-old Taylor was found with her hands tied behind her back and her throat slit. It is unclear whether Jacobs will also be charged with attempted murder on visiting house guest from Britain, Samantha Sabat.
Head of the Police Complaints Authority Justice Cecil Kennard has found in his leg of investigations that there is no evidence of 23-year-old Colin Hardin being baton raped as he claims. Here are the details in this report.
In an interview with his newscast, Justice Kennard said that the evidence contained in the report prepared by the OPR does not contain any evidence of Hardin being assaulted to the extent that he is claiming.
I find that there is no conclusive evidence that Hardin was sodomized. I have no conclusive evidence of that. Secondly, I found that he was in fact assaulted by two members of the force who were then stationed at Timehri police station, and I've recommended criminal charges against those two ranks. I prefer at this stage not to disclose their names, because this file has to go to the DPP for her to review the matter and to decide ultimately whether she's going to act on my recommendation or not.
In addition, the Police Complaints Authority head noted he has also recommended that disciplinary charges be instituted against several police officers for neglecting their duties by failing to provide medical care for Hardin.
I think that the police ought to have taken him to a doctor as early as possible, as soon as the allegation was made, because there were several policemen who were not involved in the case, but who were in the line of authority, who ought to have ensured that Hardin was examined by the doctor in an early stage. Had he been examined at an early stage, we would have been able to have medical evidence whether he was in fact sodomized. But because he was not examined at an early stage and he was only seen subsequently at a public hospital, there's room in my mind for doubt in relation to whether that in fact took place.
Kennard pointed out that he feels investigations at the level of the OPR was fairly balanced as investigators managed to capture statements from both sides. According to Kennard, the police officers have maintained their innocence throughout investigations.
I suppose police will try to protect themselves. So there's no admission by any police that they had assaulted man. There's no evidence.
Not even any physical assault?
No, I doubt whether a policeman would admit whether he's a woman or not, male, man or woman, would admit that the police had assaulted him. They had assaulted the civilian.
Okay, were they questioned about neglecting him of medical treatment?
Well, they had to. be questioned on that aspect. But they seem to have evaded the question why the man was not taken to the doctor. They were quite evasive on that.
Further, 3 persons were interviewed by investigators who were probing allegations made by Harding that he was battered and raped by police officers at Tamari last November. In January, when the matter was brought to light and Harding was hospitalized, doctors found that he was suffering from a severe case of hernia. Harding is currently in Jamaica seeking medical attention for his injuries. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manik-Chan.
Carol Ann Lynch made another court appearance on Wednesday in the Georgetown Magistrates Court to answer to the charge of murder before Chief Magistrate Priya Sundaram Bihari. Lynch is accused of murdering her husband Farooq Razak back in May 7, 2007 at 106 Iring Place, Bel Air Park, Georgetown. Razak's body was found in his Bel Air Park home at about 8:30 with a wound to his head and marks around his neck. At the time, Lynch had just returned home after taking their daughter to school. She stood silently before the magistrate and was not required to plead to the indictable charge. She was represented by attorney-at-law Peter Yu when she made her court appearance in Court 1. Lynch was remanded until April 1, 2014. This is the former beauty queen's second court appearance after she turned herself in on January 21 this year. Even as the Lee Rapintier Cemetery deteriorates, moving from bad to worse, the cash-strapped Georgetown Main City Council said it is simply unable to do better. Details from Svetlana Marshall.
TC media's with me. They're asking how much we allocated for the cemetery for last year.
For the past 2 years. I am not in a position to tell you that. I can provide that to you later on.
Who can tell me?
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to deal with the cemetery and the engineer. I'm not getting anything much out of him. Good.
No, the question is how much was allocated last year.
I can't deal with that. Right now, I provide that to you a little later on.
That was City Mayor Hamilton Green attempting to solicit crucial financial data for the Lee Rapintier Cemetery from the town clerk Carl Suba, but his attempts proved futile. Nevertheless, Green told the Evening News that while funds have been allocated for the rehabilitation of the cemetery over the years, they were totally insufficient. As a result, the cemetery has further deteriorated. Government has been approached for assistance.
We have identified an area to the east of the perimeter of where we operate and where they buried almost a century ago. That process requires substantial sums, something over $200 million, to have it properly prepared and to be a decent cemetery.
But the municipality's inability to effectively manage the cemetery is not unique. Green admitted that the Georgetown Mayor City Council has been unable to execute its duties in the areas of drainage and irrigation, garbage collection, road repairs, and management of the 5 municipal markets due to the shortage of much-needed cash. He said this is a problem since 1994, when an interim management committee (IMC) was installed in the municipality. Green lashed out at the ruling People's Progressive Party administration, stating that it has failed to implement the necessary system to effect a change.
Since 1994, the government has refused or failed to allow the municipality to broaden its revenue base, the exact words used by the PP-appointed council. So what the PP-IMC said should happen, we weren't allowed to make it a reality.
Nevertheless, Green remains hopeful that the tax base of the council will be expanded in the near future to rake in more funds, thereby giving the council an opportunity for the first time in a long time to execute its duties.
The Agriculture Ministry is currently monitoring the weather pattern, which predicts that Guyana could witness severe weather later this evening into tomorrow, causing some amount of flash flooding. The details in this report.
The Ministry of Agriculture is presently monitoring a weather pattern that has the potential to bring severe weather conditions to Guyana tonight into tomorrow.
That was Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy. The minister said that there is a possibility that the weather could change. The cloud system that is moving towards Ghana, he said, has enough moisture to produce heavy downpours. Areas likely to be affected are the low coastal plain and areas along Region 9. High-intensity rainfall is expected to exceed 80 millimeters.
However, it is too early to be definitive, and we are monitoring this condition, because there is a good chance that it could also move away and provide much less rain than its potential exists at this time.
Dr. Ramsamy said in being consistent with the policies to provide advanced information of the ministry's mechanisms, he is therefore alerting the public on an ongoing issue. Preparations are being made to alert all the relevant authorities to ensure that systems are put in place to assist with the releasing of water if there is such a case of flash flooding. The Ghana Hydrometeorological Office is monitoring the weather pattern every minute and will provide more details about this issue through other mediums of communication. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. Meanwhile, Director of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority GCAA, Zulfikar Mohammed, on Wednesday confirmed that investigations into the Cessna 206 aircraft that crashed in its bid to take off at the Ogle International Airport are continuing. Bisham Mohammed filed this report.
In a telephone interview, the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority boss Zulfikar Mohammed disclosed that officials are looking at several factors that might have contributed towards the accident at Ogle International Airport involving the Cessna 206 aircraft. He said that special emphasis has been placed on the weight that was on board the aircraft when it went down. The director added that once the final report is compiled, it will be known to the public. Public Work and Transport Minister Robeson Ben had stated that apart from the Trans-Guyana Airways crash at Olive Creek, there are several other investigations that are simultaneously being conducted, referencing to the Cessna 206 that went down in January at the Ogle International Airport.
We have been recently quite concerned over a number of aircraft incidents, mishaps. 1 week before this crash, we had an airplane flipping at Ogle Aerodrome. That incident is also being investigated. That one seemed to be related to, as of this moment, may be related to weights on the aircraft at takeoff.
However, Administrative and Finance Manager Eddie Sulal of the affected airline said that they are in constant contact with the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, and while a report from the authority is important to complete some pending litigation, he is cognizant that a preference has been placed on Trans-Guyana crash. He, however, stated that they have spoken to the pilot, but he refused to divulge any information, noting that if he does, it will be prejudicial to the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority investigations. The manager disclosed that the company was happy that none of the passengers received severe injuries, but they are in the process of discussing compensation. He added that the Phoenix Airways Incorporated has paid the medical bills for the injured passengers. The passengers were discharged a few days after the accident. The aircraft was fully insured by a company in England. The Cessna 206 aircraft belonging to Phoenix Airways veered off the runway of Ogle International Airport minutes after taking off earlier in this year. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
The Ministry of Public Works, in collaboration with the University of Ghana, will be hosting its 4th Engineering Conference tomorrow at the Ghana International Conference Centre, Liliendal. President Donald Ramotar, Works Minister Robeson Ben and UG Vice Chancellor Dr. Jacob Opedy will be delivering remarks at the opening of the conference. Under the team building Ghana's future step by step, the conference is expected to set new standards of excellence in Guyana. It will bring together a wide range of local and international experts and innovators in the field of engineering, road safety, renewable energy and maritime administration. Also expected to attend the conference are engineering professionals, contractors, consultants, suppliers and students. There will be presentations during the technical sessions on a number of ongoing development projects in Guyana. This will allow participants with the opportunity to interact with the presenters and policymakers in the transport sector. Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlall said meetings at the Special Select Committee will continue even after the recent walkout staged by a Partnership for National Unity at its last meeting. Here's more. Meetings at the Special Select Committee are set to reconvene tomorrow. This is according to Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal. Minister Nandlal said that the next date scheduled for meeting of the committee is February 6 and the meeting will proceed as planned. On Monday, APNU parliamentarians sitting in the committee staged a walkout after a motion was raised by Finance Minister Dr. Ashley Singh to have members of the private sector attend the meetings as observers. In a recent interview, Dr. Singh noted that throughout the proceedings, the opposition has been unsure whether they are opposed to having the PSC observe the proceedings.
In the current instance, we have at least one major stakeholder group, the Private Sector Commission, which, as your viewers would know, is the umbrella body representing all of the major industry and sectoral groups, wrote the committee expressing their interest in the matter of the timely passage of the bill and indicated that they would like to be permitted to attend the committee meeting, to be present at the committee meetings strictly in an observer capacity. The government at no time had any difficulty with this proposal from the time the letter was received and communicated to us, and we made this clear. The opposition, I would say, sent mixed signals on the matter. On some occasions, we got the impression that they would have no difficulty with the Private Sector Commission being present. In fact, I gather that the Private Sector Commission is of the clear impression that the opposition had indicated to them that they would have no difficulty with the request. The Private Sector Commission asked me what would the government's position be in light of the opposition's apparent assurance to them that they would have no problem with it, and I said the government's position would be that we would have absolutely no problem with it either.
The APNU explained that the walkout was due to the attitude and behavior of the chairperson, Gail Teixeira. Additionally, the APNU related that in keeping with the standing order governing special select committees, the Private Sector Committee should have had their request denied from the onset. They noted that a conflict arose when Dr. Singh suggested that the PSC be privy to all future meetings of the committee given the role they play in the development of the country. The Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, along with the Private Sector Commission, PSC, have since registered their disappointment with the decision taken by the opposition and are hoping for a favourable review of the matter. In the same vein, the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Amendment Bill of 2012 is not on the agenda for the next sitting of Parliament scheduled for Monday. The bill has to be made into law before February 13 or Guyana will be further blacklisted. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. Join us after these messages for more of the Evening News. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. Chairman of the Committee on Appointments, Dr. George Norton, is expected to present a report to the National Assembly on Monday relating to the reorganization of the Ethnic Relations Commission. The details in this report. Dr. George Norton told this newscast that the Ethnic Relations Commission report will entail plans to add 3 more members to the legal structure of the ERC. This will see an increase in the number of appointees from 7 to 10. Representatives from an Afro-Guyanese, Indo-Guyanese and Amerindian groups will be selected. That new category will be referred to as cultural and ethnic. According to him, significant progress was made over the past few months by the appointive committee to address this issue.
There was no difficulties really in arriving at the stage where we can put a report before the House, and we hope that it will get the 2/3 majority.
Dr. Norton added that the committee has removed the Interreligious Organization, IRO, from the committee and replaced it with a culture ethnic group. The report to be submitted on Monday provides detailed information on the work of the committee and will explain how the committee came to the decision to remove the IRO and replace it with another group.
The Ethnic Relations Commission comprises of certain entities that we really had to do some revisions, some additions, some subtractions, some searching to find if they're still in existence and so on. Having done that for the Ethnic Relations Commission, it is almost automatic that we will use that same list to get the other groups, the other rights commission established.
With the additional positions, 5 Amerindian bodies will select 1 representative, while 8 African bodies will be responsible for the appointment of 1 representative, and 3 Indian bodies will also select 1. All of the said entities that falls under the new category will be written to immediately after the passage of the motion by the Clerk of the National Assembly, Sherlock Isaacs. A deadline will be set by the Clerk. The ERC has been functioning without commissioners and a chairman for some time now. It is a constitutional body established under the Hartmannston Accord. For the Evening News, I'm Samuel Suknandan. Chief Fire Officer Marlon Gentle has indicated that there are plans in the pipeline to build a fire station on the west bank of Demerara. The Government Information Agency, GINA, has quoted Gentle as saying that the Guyana Fire Service has had to respond to a number of fire-related incidents on the west bank between Vredenhoop and Wales. This is a situation that has been compounded by the Parfait Harmony and Westminster development, which is one of the larger housing schemes in the region. Gentle said that fire station servicing the area would reduce greatly the service's response time to incidents on the West Bank. There are currently 16 fire stations in Guyana, with 2 more recently coming on stream, the $13 million station at Mahaica and the $20 million station at Diamond on the east bank of Demerara. Letem, Madia Kokwani and Mabaruma, Kumaka and Port Kaituma are also to be provided with firefighting capabilities shortly. Some 60 electronic voting machines are to be donated to Guyana under the Delian project to aid in the electoral process and modernize the voting process. More in this report.
After a meeting with the Canadian High Commissioner Dr. Nicole Giles and Chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission Dr. Steve Surge-Bali, the Private Sector Commission today said 60 voting machines are to be donated to Guyana by the Delian project to aid in the electoral process. The advantage of a paper-based automatic ballot scan and tabulation system solution is that results are tabulated as they are sent in at the close of polls, resulting in the ability to announce results immediately while still maintaining the comfort of a paper trail should the need for a physical recount arise. The release noted that GECOM is currently conducting preliminary assessments on the machines to ascertain their suitability for elections in Guyana. The Delian project was created in 2011 as a philanthropic entity by the Canadian elections technology firm Dominion Voting Systems. The project procures and donates electoral technology to emerging and growing democracies. Delian is a signatory to the United Nations Global Compact and recently joined the Clinton Global Initiative. Guyana election laws do not currently provide for the use of electronic voting systems. Hence, the laws would have to be amended accordingly should there be a consensus between GECOM and the requisite political parties with regards to any introduction of the automatic ballot scan and tabulation systems in Guyana. Automatic voting systems are diverse and are used in developed countries in their electoral process. Anara Khan reporting for the Evening News.
3 men are currently in police custody assisting with investigations after the car in which they were traveling in crashed into Raj Motorcycle Spare Parts, a shop located at Skeldon on the Corentyne. According to information received at about 300 hours, early Tuesday morning, the drivers of motorcar PRR 1482, which was heading in the southern direction, lost control of his vehicle and ended up in the shop situated on the western side of the public road. During an interview with the proprietor of the shop, Rajkumar Churaman, he said that he was asleep when he heard a loud noise downstairs, and upon checking he observed the car parked neatly in his shop. Churaman also disclosed that he has suffered over $500,000 in losses as a result of the incident. Luckily, no one was in the shop at the time of the incident. However, according to reports, the driver of the motorcar along with the occupants, who were suspected to have been under the influence of alcohol, fell asleep and lost control of the vehicle. The driver of the car and the other 2 occupants has since been taken into police custody while investigations into the incident are ongoing. The Guyana Defence Forces Women's Army Corps was yesterday lauded for the exemplary role it has been playing in helping to shape the course of action of the military institution. Let's find out more from Alexis Rodney.
The Forces Auditorium at Base Camp in Ghana was filled to capacity as officers and special invitees witnessed the packed program of praise and thanksgiving. The women were spectacular in their performances, celebrating their achievements in what was described as one of the country's most respected disciplined forces. It was the organization's 47th anniversary. Deputy Chief of Staff Colonel Kemarach Prasad, delivering the feature address, said that since the women first became a part of the force in 1967, they have been exceptional in their performance, pointing out that the organization has gracefully progressed over the years.
Women's Army Corps has indeed come a long way over these 47 years. I do not believe anyone will doubt their value and significance to the country as a whole. And I have every confidence that we, together as a force, will embrace the changes that are so necessary for our continued development.
In that regard, the Chief of Staff posited that the force's many policies are very much accommodating to today's environment. Colonel Prasad urged the women to do some introspection on their respective roles, pointing out that it will be prudent and appropriate for them to ascertain the kind of women Army Corps they wish to build.
Need for the leadership of this body of women to take a strategic look far beyond into the future and have a vision, recognizing where you are, where you want to go, and what are the means to get you there is more relevant than ever before.
Reverend Faye Crawford from the Tugville Assembly of God Church delivered the sermon. She urged the women to faint not, pointing out that they needed to be transformed by the renewal of their minds.
Praying that we will catch the vision that there is a way, a better way, that we can walk and that we can live. And that is the way of a changed heart, a changed mind, a renewed mind, having new ideals and its new attitudes. It can be done. Change can take place in our lives.
The establishment of the Guyana Defence Forces Women's Army Corps in February 1967 was a direct result of Venezuela's seizure of Ancocco in the Cuyuni River in October 1966. Since then, the women have been making strides in their attempt to prove that they were no less capable when compared to their male colleagues. It was a historic moment in 2005 when then Lieutenant Christine Bradford was recorded the first female officer to climb Mount Aingana to hoist the Golden Arrowhead. She was followed 5 years later by female Lieutenant Mackenzie. In 2012, Lieutenant Stacy Cadogan was honored for being the first female officer to participate in the platoon commander's course, which was allocated exclusively to male soldiers. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Join us after these messages for more of the Evening News. Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. As part of the new GPC's ongoing efforts to aid in the development of culture and arts in the lives of youth in Guyana, a sponsor check was handed over to the Panwave Academy Steel Orchestra. Narakan has the details in this report.
The Panwave Steel Orchestra offers underprivileged children, as well as children who attend schools which do not have music programs, the opportunity to become literate in music.
New GPC believes investing in youth development is crucial to the success of our nation. We would like to encourage other organizations to come on board and support similar institutions.
The Panwave Orchestra began in 2001 and was the initiative of a group of young graduates from Queen's College and President's College, along with Mrs. Mildred Lowe from the Allied Arts Department of the Ministry of Education. The aim of the initiative was to provide training in music theory and practical.
The idiom that we chose was the steel band, and since then the program has trained about 350 students. and we continue to work with various organizations and schools to provide training. I think it's quality training that we give these children, and it's not just training in music, but they're also being mentored by persons who would have formed the program and would have left the program.
Andrew Tyndall, band manager, stated that at the end of the program, the students will be molded into citizens who can make a positive contribution to the success of the country.
I have been with the Panwave Academy for about 2 years, and it has really benefited me because I'm a lover of music, and when I was small, my sister used to play steel band. I've always enjoyed it. And I just decided that, hey, it's an opportunity for me to learn. Since my school doesn't have a steel band, yes, it's really benefited me.
Javonka Williams, a past student of the academy, said that the orchestra has made a positive impact on her life, stating that it had her occupied and also helped with her grades. Anara Khan reporting for the Evening News.
Join us after these messages for your sport news, sponsored by Macron. Welcome back, and now for a look at sport in your headlines. Guyana through to regional Super 50 semi-finals. Golf season tees off on Sunday, and the R&R sponsored MASH 40-mile cycle road race billed for Sunday. Guyana's bowlers teamed up for a determined effort to claw out a 22-run win over Windward Islands on Tuesday at Queen's Park Oval. The win meant that both Guyana and Jamaica have qualified for the semi-finals, while Windward Islands and Ireland have been eliminated from advancing in the Nagico Super 50 tournament. Fast bowler Ransford Beaton took 3 vital wickets, ended with career best figures of 3 for 43, as Guyana bowled out Windwards for 213, chasing a target of 236 to win. In the closing stages of the innings, left-arm spinner Veersamy Permaul took 3 for 24, while Devendra Bishu, Paul Wins and Christopher Barnwell chipped in with figures of 2 for 42, 1 for 29 and 1 for 31 respectively. Earlier, Ramnaresh Sarwan top-scored for the Guyanese with 62. He received support from skipper Christopher, 51, Asad Footed 51, and Leon Johnson, 41. Guyana faces Jamaica in their final preliminary game on Saturday. The 2014 golf season is set to tee off on Sunday with the Bangsiage Limited Citizens Bank Players Cup GT Bear Championship slated for the east coast of Demerara. The one-day tournament organized by the Lusignan Golf Club will feature approximately 10 teams battling for supremacy. Each team will comprise of 4 players, and the winning team will be determined by the lowest total net score. Apart from the team prize, the individual player with the best net score will win the prestigious Players' Cup sponsored by Citizens Bank. The present holder of the Players' Cup is Patrick Bashad, who also won the title in 2012. There will be a best gross prize up for grabs. The players will compete in 3 flights, 0 to 9, 10 to 18 and 19 to 28 handicaps. And finally in sport, the R&R International Limited sponsored 40-mile cycle road race will be staged on Sunday on the west coast of Demerara roadways, beginning at 800 hours from Schoonard entrance of the Demerara Harbour Bridge. The country's top pedal pushers will journey from Schoonard to Bushy Park, East Bank, Essequibo, before returning to the place of origin for the finish. The veterans, mountain bikers and females will turn back from the Iflut Community Centre, while the open category and junior riders will turn back at Bushy Park. The top 6 finishers in the open category, as well as the first 2 finishers in the juniors, veterans and female categories, will receive trophies and monetary rewards, while the first mountain biker will also be rewarded. The defending champion is Alonso Greaves, who clocked 1 hour, 41 minutes, 58 seconds in winning last year's event. The defending champions of the juniors, veterans and female categories are Raul Leal, Stephen Fernandes and Naomi Singh respectively. Remember, you can read about these and other stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times newspaper, and you can pick that up from vendors across the country. Join us after these messages for your bridge reports. Welcome back, and now for a look at your bridge report. The Demo Harbour Bridge will be closed on Thursday, February 6 at 9 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Thursday, February 6 at 8 hours 35 for a period of 1.5 hours. That's your Wednesday, February 5, 2014 edition of the Evening News. I'm Samuel Sugnandan. Thanks for joining us.